Commerce, commerce, commerce! A web of connections, deals, pacts, and influence that shapes wealth, drives progress, and often fosters understanding. Commerce is the greatest of soft powers in politics and diplomacy. Through trade, you sell more than products. You sell ideas. Yes, you can make others dependent on your goods, on what you produce. But true power belongs to those who control and shape the complex web of trade itself. In the Milky Way of Mass Effect, the Volus are the undisputed masters of commerce. Which raises an interesting question. How would they interact with the members of a water caste of a Farsight Enclaves? Or rather, why would they be the best of friends? That's right, my dear viewers and listeners. After many months, we are finally returning to the Mass Effect versus Warhammer 40k series. Now, I could have gone with some big video with long discussion of different scenarios, but decided against it. It's been a moment since I've made a short video like this, so if you would indulge me, allow me to have a bit of fun making a shorter video. Before we begin, remember to like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, the whole shtick. You know what to do. If you can, support me through Patreon. And if you want to donate to the Star Wars X Warhammer 40k art budget, do so through Ko-fi. Season 1 just came to an end, but I am already preparing for Season 2. Your support will ensure our magnificent art gallery continues to grow and is free of AI slop. All links in the description below. With that out of the way, let's begin. Let's start with a brief overview of the Volus. They are a fascinating species. They evolved on a world with ammonia-based ecology and gravity roughly 1.5 times that of Earth. As a result, they can't safely interact with the wider galaxy without wearing protective environmental suits. They are physically frail, coupled with the fact that they have no real warrior tradition. The Volus were never destined to become a military power. What they do have is an obsession with trade and commerce, and through commerce they secured their place on the galactic stage. The Volus were responsible for creating the concept of a galactic credit. Yes, the Citadel Council officially adopted it, but the Volus were the ones who designed the system in the first place. They operate banks across Citadel space, manage countless businesses, and many have become influential information brokers. By almost every measure, the Volus form the backbone of a galactic economy. Yet, despite all of that, they are rarely given the respect they deserve. They are mocked, underestimated, and possess relatively little direct political or military power. Unable to defend themselves against larger powers, they entered into a protectorate relationship with the Turians. The arrangement became deeply symbiotic. The Turian hierarchy guaranteed security, while the Volus kept much of their shared economy running. Ironically, even the Turians don't always seem to appreciate just how dependent they are on their tiny allies. The Turian hierarchy stands as the Citadel's de facto military superpower, largely because the Volus support it. They provide the financial foundation that allows one of the greatest military-industrial complexes in the galaxy to operate at full capacity. Vasari often claim to possess the greatest commercial reach in the galaxy. And perhaps they do, if you count the Turians and Volus separately. But together, their combined economic influence almost certainly eclipses that of Vasari. Even more impressive is the fact that so much of Turian industry is devoted to military production rather than consumer goods. Maintaining that level of economic power under those conditions is no small achievement. For all the jokes the games make at their expense, I've always respected the Volus. They are far more important to the stability of Citadel civilization than most people realize, both inside and outside the universe. Now, let's give the Water Caste the same treatment. The Water Caste serve as diplomats, traders, negotiators, and administrators of both the Tau Empire and the Farsight Enclaves. They are trained from birth for those roles, becoming masters of diplomacy and commerce. They are often described as more physically attractive than members of other castes, possess an exceptional ability to read emotions, and have an extraordinary gift for learning languages. Unlike the reserved Air Caste, the straightforward Earth Caste, or the aggressive Fire Caste, the Water Caste fully embraces persuasion, negotiation, and subtle manipulation. They are living embodiment of a greater good's soft power. This frequently brings them into conflict with a Fire Caste, whose instinct is to solve problems through military force. In many ways, no rivalry within Tau society is stronger than that between Water and Fire Caste. If it was possible, the Water Caste would gladly bring every world into the greater good through words, trade, and diplomacy alone. Fortunately, or unfortunately, depending on your perspective, they're also pragmatists. Like all Tau, they understand that sometimes a pulse rifle succeeds where diplomacy fails. But they also know that, just as often, words can accomplish what armies cannot. In many ways, their role mirrors that of Volus. The difference is that the Water Caste enjoys equal standing within Tau society, and their influence is often every bit as decisive as an army of fire warriors. So, with that in mind, let's return to our scenario. The Farsight Enclaves arrive in the Mass Effect galaxy and establish contact with the Citadel Council. They would immediately recognize the Council's power, especially the military strength of Turian hierarchy. While many Tau warriors would undoubtedly want to test themselves against the Turians, they would almost certainly be told to stand down and allow the Water Caste to take the lead. A war with the Citadel Council would be a terrible strategic decision. At the same time, I doubt Farsight would have any interest in immediately joining the Council. He is deeply suspicious of outside powers attempting to dictate the future of his people. If you can't defeat them and you won't join them, then the logical alternative is to cultivate enough influence that friendship becomes the obvious choice. Achieving that would require efforts on many fronts, but above all else, it would require commerce. Through trade, the Enclaves would expand their soft power across the Citadel space, building friendships, alliances, commercial partnerships, and political influence, one agreement at a time. And while they are doing all this, I don't believe that Tau would see Volus as rivals. They would see them as partners. As we already established, the Volus wield enormous influence over the galactic economy and enjoy considerable influence within Turian hierarchy. They are the perfect intermediary through which the Tau could cultivate a relationship with the Turians. And if the Turians come to see the Enclaves as allies rather than enemies, much of the Citadel will inevitably follow. It's an amusing image, really. The Tau quietly slipping into Citadel politics through the least appreciated species in the Council space. And frankly, I think it would work. The games constantly remind us how little respect the Volus receive. They don't even have their own embassy, they share one with the Elcor. They are mocked, overlooked, and often treated as second-class citizens simply because they lack powerful biotics or an impressive military. The Tau, meanwhile, would have every reason to treat them differently. More importantly, I think that respect would be genuine. The Water Caste isn't impressed by brute strength or mystical abilities, but a civilization that designed the galactic currency, that operates the banking system, that has its fingers in finance, logistics, and the information broker network? Those are accomplishments the Water Caste would immediately recognize. To them, the Volus wouldn't be weak, they would be peers. Thankfully for the Tau, the Volus excel at commerce far more than diplomacy. That's where the Water Caste would shine, gradually building trust until the Volus viewed the Enclaves as some of their closest partners, second only to the Turians themselves. And once the doors to the galactic market are open, it's an open season. Through the Volus, Tau influence would spread into every corner of Citadel space, quietly reaching even the most distant regions of known space. That's always been one of my favorite aspects of the Water Caste. They're subtle, patient, insidious. Vasari are proud, experienced diplomats with millennia of tradition behind them. You won't persuade them overnight. Their long lifespans make them cautious, and genuinely, revolutionary ideas are often dismissed before they ever leave the council chamber. The Salarians are every bit as cunning as the Water Caste, but far more reckless. Their short lives encourage bold gambles, and they are deeply attached to their own plans. If the Tau don't fit those calculations, the Salarians are far more likely to subtract them from the equation. The Turians, meanwhile, are almost the mirror image of a Fire Caste. Direct, disciplined, and straightforward. I can easily imagine the Water Caste struggling to negotiate with a civilization that thinks so much like their own greatest internal rivals. And the Systems Alliance? Human politics are simply too fragmented. Their position within Citadel space is still evolving, making them an unreliable foundation for any long-term strategy. But the Volus are different. They are the key to the Citadel. There's something wonderfully ironic about it. The smallest, most underestimated species in the Council space may well hold the keys to the kingdom. Sometimes all it takes to change history is giving people the respect they always deserved. And that will be all for today. A bit shorter video than usual, I know. Hope you don't mind. I'm still a little burnt out, so I decided to not make this video too extensive or complicated. I would like to thank the highest tier Patreon supporters for helping to pay my bills. S.A., Rayburn, Michael Pilson, Josh Travis, Cell, Scary Stopvat, Psab, Eris9, Seragusta, Boromir117, Heimko, and Glitch. If you would like to join my supporters, visit my Patreon. You can also visit my merch store for cool gadgets. If you want to donate to the Star Wars X Warhammer 40k art budget, visit Ko-fi. Remember, through me, you can support real artists. And of course, like, comment, subscribe, and ring that bell. All links in the description below. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed. Now, my dear viewers and listeners, remember, wherever you are, whatever you do, try to enjoy yourself while you can. I wish you most critical day. Ta-ta!